What's going on, everybody out there? Welcome to another episode of the Beyond the Vision podcast. I brought my sister, my best friend, my sister in Christ, my mentor, just everything. She's /dot every credential you got out there. She got it. And I brought her to the scene because she has an amazing story. She does not look like, and I'm going to tell you for those that are listening, go watch the YouTube video because she does not look like what she has been through, baby. Top tier on the scene. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself, but tune in, stay all the way to the end, listen to this amazing story. It's inspirational, it's motivational. She always drops gems every chance she gets to talk about transitioning. We're gonna talk about Navy a little bit. We're gonna talk about transitioning in and out of it, and just let her show you how she used a lot of her story to build the person that she is today. So Tashique, Queen, go ahead. Tell them, hey, girl. And y'all, she did get dazzled up for this episode, baby. Go see it. She's over there looking like runawaymodel.com because it's the polka dots for me.
It's the only way. Like, I have to bring it for my friends. Like, what would I be if I didn't 100% to your platform and what you're doing? I'm so proud of you, first of all.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me. I am Tashique. I am now a transitioned Navy veteran in the corporate world. I'm now a National Strategic Solutions Director with United Healthcare. As of December last year, I'm out of the Navy as of January this year. So, I had that little cushion to just make that transition happen, planned, strategic. So that's why, I'm in this role that I'm in right now. I am in Virginia. I am married. I am happy with this chapter, and I'm excited about this conversation that we can go through it and, show that this journey is just that, a journey, and anything that you set your mind to is possible. But you have to do it. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to outline that vision and make it happen.
Yeah. I love that. And as y'all's here, the girl got it going on right now, baby. 2021. This is 2021 for those that are tuning in later on in life. This is 2021. And COVID didn't stop nobody's show, including hers. So Tashique, I want to take them all the way back because I know a little bit, but I really want you to do that build up of you say you transition out. Now you're in the healthcare field in a leadership position at the top with the top dogs. But let's go back to before the Navy. What was your life like? Where were you personally, professionally, mentally, emotionally? Like what did that Tashique look like before the Navy?
So let me back up, and I'm going to tell you 10 years ago, Tashique was married. I lived in Jamaica at the time, and I moved here to be with my then husband. I'm dropping all sorts of tea on this right now.
Oh, yes. Stay for the tea for me. Yes.
Yes, I moved here. I graduated with a bachelor's in communications. So I was a television producer for a morning show and features and other things in the communications and media industry. And I moved to New York, and that changed quickly. From an independent, doing my own thing, striving in my career, getting out of college, moving. I got hired for my internship at this television company. And coming from that, being independent, to moving to another country, uprooting my life to come and be with who I then thought was going to take care of me as their spouse. And that changed quickly. I moved here. I wasn't able to get a job because it is very difficult for immigrants sometimes. The degree didn't matter. The experience didn't matter. You had to start from scratch. With all of what I had to start over. And it took some time to get into finding a job. It seems as if a lot of the organizations tried to exploit the talent that I had, and I had to stand firm and say, no, I'm not doing this for pennies. I know my worth and my talents. No, I don't think I'm going to do this. And I did the odd jobs. the last thing I did that really turned me off was I went for a babysitting gig because I was here legally, had a green card, just couldn't get a job. McDonald's, nobody would hire me. No matter where I applied for an entry level job, I could not get one. I wouldn't get a call back, nothing. Dry for like maybe 9 months. So I got a babysitting gig, another immigrant family, and this woman, she wanted me to take care of her kids a couple of hours out of the day so that she could get that balance, go run her errands, that kind of stuff. That's what she hired me to do, or that's what she told me when I came the first day. Okay, went back the next day. I got a load of laundry and a list to cook dinner. I said, "Oh no, ma'am. I've been here you can pay me for the 2 hours. I'm gonna go now." And I never went back. I said no. So I had to be firm, and I was hired to look at, to pick up your kid from the bus stop and take care of the other one while you run errands. And then I show up and you tell me I have to cook meals for your family and do your laundry. I said, no, this is not it, Tashique. And then on my way home, I stopped at the recruiting station on Jamaica Avenue in Queens, New York, and went in there, chatted up with the Marine recruiter, actually. And I was supposed to, I entered their program. I was supposed to be a Marine. But then about 3 weeks before I was supposed to go to their boot camp, they had a tattoo policy, and I had a tattoo on my shoulder that is like one vertebrae above what they accepted. And it was a challenge. They're like, we need to get a waiver now and everything else. But if you don't want to do it, and take it off, because if I took it off, I would have to get a waiver for removing it. So it was just a whole process. So she said, talk with the Navy. They might have different rules. And I went over there, and sure enough, it was another Jamaican. And I just saw that she made warrant officer. So I'm like, yes, queen.
Yes.
And she took me under her wings. I was in their DEP program for about 3 months. And funny enough, I was supposed to be a gunner's mate in the Navy. And then that job changed. And then she hit me up one day and she said, Tashique, I have something that's shipping earlier. Do you want to be a corpsman? I'm like, what's that? Can I go back into media like I know? I'm like, but I know this. I have a whole bachelor's degree. I can do this. And that's when the first challenge came. I had to now go into the healthcare industry, which I knew nothing about. I didn't know the first thing about anatomy. And that was the first challenge, not getting the job that I wanted to get in the Navy and venturing into a total different field from what I knew and what I was used to and what I thought I could bring into this new chapter. And that's another thing. Sometimes you have to close that chapter, whatever it looks like, but you still take those things while you're in the next one. But sometimes you just have to close it. So I had to close that I know how to do media chapter and go into this healthcare chapter with the Navy, because that was a part of my journey. I didn't know it yet, but that was a part of my journey. And went to boot camp after a very traumatic incident with the said spouse. Went to boot camp with fractured ribs 2 days later, because what that meant for me as an immigrant was that he didn't have control anymore. I was gonna regain my independence, and that was not gonna fly, because in that period when I was not employed, it was, I'm gonna drop you off, I'm gonna pick you up. I'm not coming in the mall with you, but I'll bring you, and I'll wait in the car. That kind of energy where we were not on the same page. We were not doing it. And I think that happened because he asked, and I'm like, this is what you do. You go to school, you get the degree, you get married, you get the house, you have kids. And that's the journey that I was on. And it was just not coming together. And so after that experience, went to boot camp, hurt, And of course I couldn't say this because you can't, you shouldn't, you know, but I did, because what else was I going to do? Stay in
Yeah.
that situation? No.
Yeah.
So if you haven't heard, if you haven't realized it now, I'm heavy on the boundaries. Like, you only get to do this once. She only
Yeah.
got to tell me to wash her underwear once, and I was like, oh no. He only got to do it once, and I was out,
Mm.
and I never went back.
I want to pause right. I want to pause right there for those that are listening. Baby, boundaries, boundaries. Outside of all I'm hearing so far, and we haven't even we ain't even halfway in yet. But you had hit. It was almost like challenge after challenge. Door closed, door closed, door closed. This is what I'm used to. This is what I'm doing. My plan. Shift, change, detour, hit, be like abuse. You dealt with so much, and you still didn't stop. You kept going. You shifted where you needed to shift. You gave people one chance. A lot of people out there that don't have the strength or don't have the courage to leave right now what is hurting you, what is causing you pain. I want you to know that it is healing. There is freedom on the other side. It takes one time for somebody to show you their true colors, and you have to believe them and see it for what it is. And I think that's so powerful, because some people are so comfortable in their pain because they fear what's on the other side of not having it.
And I didn't know what that was going to look like for me when I left and went to boot camp, because, leading up to that, the preparation was, we were going to do this together. And then when he found out what happens when I go to boot camp and I earn my own $10 now, I packed his bag to come to graduation, wear this, bring this for me. The whole thing was laid out. Wow. And that's the life I thought I was going to go back to. And then in 2 days, that shifted completely. He came in the house, and when he found out that this meant she'll be independent of me, he started throwing things in the wall, break it. And I'm like, I'm going to leave before you try to break me. And I was on the phone with my mom, actually. And I'm like, I need somebody to witness this and be here, and my godmother as well. So I was on a 3-way call with him, and he decided, no, you don't need to talk to anybody else. Talk to me right here. Confront me. And then that's when it happened. So my mom heard this entire situation go down, and she lives in London. So it was very painful for my mom to go through that and hear it and not be able to help her child, So when I think of those things, sometimes I'm like, that was difficult. She couldn't help me, and I know that was tough for her. So even that, I knew there was no way I would go back. There's no way. None. So, that didn't define me or what was next. So I just need anyone to know that whatever you go through, it doesn't define the next thing or the next chapter. It might help you get through it, but it doesn't define how progressive and how much you can get from that experience. And the next thing. So went to boot camp, didn't know how to swim, so that was my next challenge.
Help us all out there who don't like to get their hair wet and put that head underwater. Baby, yes, no, not me either.
So from that incident, let me tell you what happened. So I was practicing to swim at the YMCA, a little 6-foot pool that, okay, I can do this. Go to boot camp, and I have to climb up on this 12-foot ledge and jump 24. I'm like, oh God. And then, mind you, this is about 3 weeks after that whole evolution with him. And I get up on this, and I'm already nervous about jumping into this pool, and the man pushing me off. So, just like that experience I had 3 weeks ago came right. I could not do anything. Nothing. So needless to say, I failed swim and had to be in remediation at that point because I didn't address that trauma. It was still fresh, but I didn't address that. So nothing else that I could do, nothing else that I wanted to do was going to happen until I addressed that. So I couldn't get over that another person put their hands on me. So every time I went up on that thing to jump, and I would stand there for a minute, they would push me off and not understand that, listen, dude, you don't understand what this is doing to me, And I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody because I needed to get through boot camp, and they were wondering why. And I encountered one chief, her chief scout, and I told her, and she said, okay, we have all the resources. You're in a safe place right now. Nobody can get through these gates. And she was so calming. And she would put her PT gear on and come to the pool with me. Yeah, I wish I could find her to tell her thanks. But she would put her clothes on and come to the gym with me and say, come on, let's do it. She'd get in the water. You know, this is totally outside of the norm. But when your angels come to get you through the next journey, the next part of your journey in your chapter, you don't even know what it looks like. So she was my angel at that point. And she got me connected with FAP, the Family Advocacy Program, and Fleet and Family Services. And that is how I got through boot camp, because I had that support there. I had two strong females that decided, I'm not going to allow you to spiral down the drain. You have a new opportunity and a new life in front of you. So let's go get it. You know, and that's what they did for me. Graduate boot camp, went to core school, and that was another learning curve. I didn't know anything about healthcare. So it's a figure it out. You have a test every week. You got 4 months. And then you're going to be responsible for people. I'm like, hey, this is wild.
And there you have it. And there, that's that free medical and dental, everybody. And there we go.
Yeah, but I went and I gave it everything I had. Left not boot camp, core school. And I met some great people there. You know, so the Navy, that journey, it propelled and created some friendships that I will have forever. I had this crazy Latina roommate. Oh my God. She would challenge every bit of me every morning. And I'm like, oh my God. But now by the time we left, we were good. We were best. You know, so it just happened over time where I realized that, you know what, maybe there is something else that I should be exploring, and let me just enjoy this journey. Went to Bethesda. That was my first duty station, and got thrown into labor and delivery. I'm like, what? I got to deliver babies? What in the world is this? And that opened my eyes to being compassionate, because for a lot of women and service members who were having their first baby or child or whatever it was in their, you know, I was that person in their most vulnerable moment. They could see someone who could comfort them when they were away from their families, didn't have the mom to hold their leg, didn't, you know, they were found a comfort in what I would bring into that room when they were delivering their child. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'm onto something here. Maybe I should go into nursing. And I did one class and I'm like, no, maybe not. You know, so I thought about it, and then I started exploring my first passion, media again. And I started doing a newsletter for my ward, and then that blew up. This command master chief came up to the ward one night shift, and he saw it. He's like, who did this? And they're like, oh, it's H.N. Thomas who did it. And he's like, well, I'll come back and meet her one day. Maybe she'll interview me. And he came back about 3 days later when I was on shift, and I'm like, oh, Lord Jesus, what do I do now? Yeah. And he's like, interview me for your newsletter. And I did that. And then in it, or after that happened, he's like, so what do you want to do next? I'm like, well, I joined the Navy to go on a ship. So I want to go on a ship. 3 weeks later, I was on my way to San Diego to be on the USS Princeton.
Yeah.
You know, so that was another lesson in my journey where I told you I closed a chapter on media, but I still explored my passion one way or the other while I was on that ward, you know. And
when you said, hold on, because when you said that, this is for those listening that says you never get away from your passion, no matter what you're temporarily doing. Don't get away from your passion. You don't have to stop loving something just because you're not doing it. And I think that is key, that you held on to that, and that opened up a door for you.
Yep.
Look at that opportunity. Your passion will make room for you. Your passion will open doors. Your passion will allow you to go to the next stage and next season. The passion doesn't go anywhere, even if what you are doing changes. That is so key. That is so
And this
important.
wasn't something that somebody told me to do. And that's what I see a lot of times in the military. We wait until someone tells us, go wipe that wall, create this program, manage this. And that was not me. I got on that ward and they're like, all the collaterals are filled. And I'm like, so, okay, well, I guess I'll create one for myself. And I started the board.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to create those opportunities from your passion. And that's what I did. And that opened up the door for something else that a lot of this I didn't know was going to happen. And then the flexibility of being able to pack up and go when it's time, sometimes that is a part of your journey. You don't need to have the 6 months notice. When those opportunities come, you take them, because they don't come back. So I had to, when the detailer said we have hot fill orders to a ship in San Diego, I'm like, all right. So sometimes you have to be open to that. I didn't have the time to plan this completely, but the opportunity is here, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to go. And I did. And I met some of my best friends. You, Deshaun, I met some of the best people from picking up from DC, moving across the country again, and getting integrated in something new. I knew nothing about a ship. I didn't know how to navigate this thing. I'm like, oh my God, I hit my knee again. I didn't know how to find my way from medical to admin, but that is one of the characteristics I think have made me who I am today, because I'm not afraid to learn while I'm going. The same thing with, I've heard of Elon Musk. He didn't get the first rocket up there successfully, but he kept improving, and he would continue to pursue his passion, even when it wasn't 100% baked. So even though I didn't know what this opportunity on the ship was, I still went and took it on. And then I had good people there to start that journey. And then I met you. And I remember the first day you checked in, because the representation is so slim. It was a ship of about 30 something women, 300 men. And it was not normal for two, much less 4 Black women being on a ship together. Like, what?
Yeah, this is no, let's shut it down.
We have to figure it out.
Yeah.
I remember the day you checked in, and I ran up to I'm like, hi. So welcome. Let me show you to where you're gonna sleep. Right beside me. You're gonna go right over here. This is your rack now, and we are friends. And sometimes I recognize that we are our own enemies sometimes, but I could not continue that cycle. When I saw the next Black woman step on, I had to be her ally, and you were mine as well. So thank you.
And that's important. Everybody hear that, because so many times when you see someone else that looks like you, and I say a lot, it's in the women, like Black women talk about it more than Black men, but it's that competition, that you versus me. Like, no, if we all can dominate together, baby, when one make it, we all make it. When one succeeds and heals, we all succeed and heal. Like, we have to collectively move like this.
Yeah.
We are talking about it takes a village. It does, and the village continues.
But I think that we were not competition, because I was in a total different role from you.
Yep.
Camille was in supply, you were in engineering, I was in medical. Like, we were a force. But that's what we recognized quickly, that we had to be each other's ally. And that is what I'm going to encourage your listeners. When you go into a space and you're not represented, be an ally for the next woman, the next man, the next immigrant, the next whoever it is in the community that you represent. Be an ally for that person. It's not all about competition. We all have room to grow and be successful. So break that cycle of, well, turn the nose on each other, whatever that is, the next veteran. When you go into that space, know that collectively we have a lot of work to do. And I'll go back to that. I'll go back to that a little bit later with representation and what that means, because it's two things for me. On that ship, I had to represent strong women, because as soon as you venture into that territory, people sometimes think, oh, she's cute, I can get that. And you are now a challenge. So one, I had to represent that. No, excuse me, no. Boundaries. I'm here to work. This is my job. So we're not going to have a thing, you know? So I had to create that boundary, one, and the representation that I'm not going to show up looking crazy. So this was it. On that ship.
Every day, y'all, for those that are listening and not watching YouTube, every single day, new color, new hair, new face, makeup, whatever. It didn't matter. Underway, import. The girl every single day showed up.
Because I had to represent women in that platform differently. So I had to show up looking different, not tore up, and because you're on a ship, you're not combing your hair, you're not keeping yourself. No, I was priority. I was going to take care of myself, and I was doing it for me. I wasn't doing it for anybody else. And I think that's why I followed through on it, because sometimes when you do it for someone else, you'll lose that motivation. But I didn't get noticed, so I don't have to do it. I was doing that for me. I was representing for me and my family and everything that I stood for. So that's my other challenge to your listeners. When you get in a space to represent whatever community, whatever you represent, the demographic that you represent, it's heavy. It's a hard shoe to fill. But guess what? If our ancestors could pick cotton, if that's the least you can do, take the challenge. Take the challenge. So, you representing in the wardroom, take the challenge. On days it's going to be difficult. Me representing in a corporate environment, on days it's difficult because I am the Black person. And it's difficult because I'll get the, oh, do we say Black or African American? Do we say get educated? There's a lot of literature to educate yourself, but taking that opportunity as well to educate, you know? So when you get into a place where you can represent, do it well. And remember your roots. Remember why you're doing it. And that goes into the next thing, my why. I did not go on that ship just because I wanted to commission. Because like I said before, I moved here with a bachelor's degree, but the immigration rules was that you had to be enlisted if you weren't a citizen. So I enlisted, and now I wanted to commission because that was the next thing on my list. And I was trying to explore that. And that was the other challenge. You know it.
Yeah.
Tried over and over and over again. Every opportunity, every stay 21, this, that, and the other, I would try, and it would get turned down. I'm like, all right, I got to figure this out. Since I'm not getting into the student programs, I need to finish this degree again, because when I moved here, I only got credits for my degree. And that's another challenge a lot of immigrants face, where our credentials are not recognized. And I'm like, I already have this. Why do I have to do it over again? But I did. I had to brush myself off and say, all right, if you got to do these 10 classes over, do these 10 classes. And in the challenge of doing that on a ship where you have limited internet or you have long days and long hours and, you know, you don't really know your schedule. You don't know when you're going underway. You don't know when you're going to be home. But I had to, it was my goal and I had to achieve it. So even on the days when I got written up for paying for my own classes, oh well, this is my goal and I have to realize.
People think like, okay, y'all get free medical, y'all get free dental, y'all get free education, but they don't know the challenges that come with those as a service member, that it's not always easy. Somebody still tell you when you can go to medical tell you when you can go to dinner, tell you when you can go to school, tell you how much and how often you can go to school. Like it's really like you come into a place where it is robotic and you literally have no freedom of your own. You have nothing but your last name. That's
And
it.
that's the cap that you talk about. The cap was put on me to only do 2 classes at a time or none. And when that was the challenge, I figured out another way. Because guess what? If you can invest in paying your rent, paying your car note, why can't you invest in yourself? Pay for this class. If you can't get it done with TA or other assistant program, invest in yourself. Invest in your goal, whatever that is. Because if you put a cap on you, then where are you going to get with it? So when that was placed on me, I'm like, you know what? I need to figure this out. So I would pay for classes myself if I didn't get approved for the TA, because I needed to realize this goal of mine. And that would cause a lot of frustration sometimes, because I knew my potential. But what I encountered was some of the people that I encountered in the military and the leadership, they have their own idea of success. But I had a different one, and I had to figure it out. How do I have this align where I can do my job, but still do what I need to do to build my legacy? Because that was in the back of my mind. Like, this is not it for me. I no, So I had to invest in my potential. Something
God, that's
harder than
I'm sorry. I know I'd like to home in on things as you see them, but invest in my potential. Not where I am, but invest in my potential. Invest on the future. Invest in the vision. Invest going beyond. And I think about that because people always ask where the beyond the vision come from. And it's saying going past what you see right now. Because right now it's temporary. And investing in yourself. When I watched how you maneuver and how everything you did wasn't based on the challenges you were facing right now, the no's that you were facing right now, what you were going through. It was like, this is where I'm going, and nobody's going to get in my way. I don't care what you try. I don't care what you do. I'm going to bulldoze through you. That's how you maneuver, and you still maneuver like that now. Is I do not care what you put in front of me. I'm going to move it out the way. You're going to get out the way. I'm going to knock you out the way. You choose. You choose.
Why not? Because because only you know your potential, right? And if you don't hold yourself accountable to that goal that you put down, you won't reach it, because everyone else has something else in their mind. It was the next rank. Everyone was encouraging, oh, you need to make rank. Oh, you need to, but that did not define what was next for me, So while you're doing your job every day, keep in the front of your mind, not even the back of your mind, what your goal is and your potential and your vision, right? Because you have to give that as much effort and energy as you do getting that qualification to do your job. Because who's going to benefit from your hard work and your potential in that job? Them. But if you invest in your goal and your vision, who benefits from that? You. On days when it's challenging, on days when it's hard, I had the support and I had the circle, and I'm very grateful for that. And I think it's the Caribbean hustler in me where I could not stop. I could not stop. I know it.
And even now, you still maneuver in that way. And from coming in to transitioning out to having this job before you even got out, like everything, like it was the hustler. You never allowed anything to come hit you blindly. And even if it did, you was like, but I got something for that. But I got something.
Always. So you know what? I'm going to fast forward some. I end up in Portsmouth. Didn't want to come here. Didn't want to come to Virginia. And I end up in patient and guest relations. I was not sick. I'm like, I'm a capable corpsman. Why am I in an office job? And sometimes the people that you meet in those places, you don't know how they're going to help propel your journey. And the last person that I helped in that job, she was a career counselor and she was on limited duty. And no matter what was happening with her, she would get the same kind of challenges that I would. So I related to her and I decided, you know what, I'm going to figure this out for you. I'm going to help you. And when I wanted to transition out, it was her last month in the military. And she's like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to help you. It came back full circle. And that was 3 years later. It was her last month, but she decided that she was going to invest this last month in making sure that I had a successful journey. She said the year before, she said, you know what? You need to go to TGPS. Let's get on this journey because I know your potential. I see it. I know it as well from that one encounter, right? And she said, no, you're not doing this. And she would send me the resources. She would get me going. And even if it was that one encounter that I had with her every other month or every 3 months or whatever, it was based on that experience and that encounter she had with me in a job where I didn't even want to be. But I didn't know how it was going to come back full circle. So it costs nothing to be kind. So remember that when you're on this journey, things come back full circle. So those bridges, don't burn them. Yeah. Be firm, right? But don't burn the bridges because you don't know how that's going to come back full circle to engage and propel the next thing in your chapter, in your journey, in your vision, right? So that happened, and I came to Portsmouth, hated it. I didn't know what I was coming here for, but I guess it was a part of my journey. Like I said, sometimes when you're on the road, you don't even know what the result is going to be. And this is where I met my now wife. And I'm now happily married, and it wouldn't have happened if all those things didn't happen before. I got to explore this person and what I really liked and what I really wanted, because it wasn't the one we talked about before. That wasn't it. But I was a part of an environment that was the norm. And having the courage to be the first openly gay person in my family and saying, you know what, this is it. This is what y'all get. And representing that because I'm Jamaican and this is not a thing, it is difficult. But I had to do it because I know that there are other people in situations and challenges and similar to my experience that think this is it. I just have to stay in that situation because this is what's normal. This is what's normalized. This is what we're encouraged to do, whatever it is. And to stay married, to stay in the Navy, to stay in that rate, to stay in that household, whatever it is, that's what's normalized and introduced to us. But I had to break out of that because I know I wasn't living my best self. And that opened up something that I didn't know, that I could have a partner or a spouse that supported me the way that she does. Mm-hmm. If I'm doing homework, she proofreading. Mm-hmm. That kind of support. It's not her thing, but she's sitting right here and she's going, oh, you should change that sentence to that kind of support and encouragement. If I'm up at 11:59 to get that, she up at 11:59. And I do the same thing as well. So coming here, I didn't know that that's what was in store for me, where I'd find the person who would take me on another journey of parenting and exploring this body and this self and this person and encouraging the next thing. Because I came here and I'm like, you know what, maybe I should do the master's degree. And that's just what I did. Same challenges. You just got here. You can't use TA. You have to be here a year. I'm like, bet. I have a GI Bill, so here you go.
I just did that same thing because I was just like, TA not enough. I'm trying to finish. I have my own goals. I have to do what I got to do, and I need to do it now. And I was like, I got to activate my GI Bill. Let's go. Like, if you're not going to give me what I need, I'll go find another need. I'll go find another source.
Why not use it? So you have to tap into the resources you have. Yeah. Sometimes we have them on a shelf somewhere and don't know, okay, this is time for me to play this. You have to utilize the resources and tools that you have when you have them.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that this is your vision to have a master's degree, then use the resources you have. Invest in yourself and your potential. And I'm going to say this over and over again. So that's what I did. I started one, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should transfer to a school that I can actually go to classes. And I transferred from Liberty to ODU. And sure enough, COVID happened. They moved everything online. I'm like, oh my God.
Back to it.
So I had this one degree going over here. I transferred, started doing another one. I'm like, I can just do both. Yeah. So I did that. I don't know what I was thinking, but that was the challenge that I was facing, where I wanted to commission as an EHO, an environmental health officer. And then, sure enough, they came, oh, you need to get this degree from this place. Okay, bet. Oh, you need to have this class in there. All right, I got it. I'm gonna just do 2 of them. What you gonna tell me when I have 2 master's degrees? What are you gonna tell me now? Because it seemed like every time I met the standard, they would move the finish line. So I did that, and not knowing that would open up another door. It was challenging to do 2 degrees at the same time, working ward hours, working duty weekends, and doing everything that the job entailed, and trying to maintain my personal and family life. But I had to do it because apparently now this was the standard. And I just got frustrated some days, but I had to figure it out. I wrote it down that I would do it, so I did it. And that's another important part of, realizing your vision. Write it down. Because in the Bible it said it is written. It didn't say that it was said or it was heard. It said it is written. So I wrote down my goals for my 5-year plan because I needed to figure it out. How am I going to get to this? Since you're telling me that I cannot commission in the Navy as an EHO, there's a whole public service corps, whole 7th branch of the military. I'll go do that.
Yeah.
I do. That's another thing with me that people don't understand. I do my research. I don't take things just for face value. I'm coming to you. When I come to you with whatever it is, I'm coming to you with it done. I'm coming to you with it baked. Like, I know this. I'm not coming to you for the knowledge. I'm coming to you for you to route it or do your part of the journey,
Yeah.
So you have to invest that time to do your research and whatever the next thing is for you, So I ventured into doing my master's in public health, 2 of them actually, one in environmental health and one in global health, and didn't know what I was going to do with them after because I was trying to commission. That was the back of my mind. This is what my journey is. This is what's next. And with those challenges, I kept getting knocked down. Oh no, you're not going to finish the timeline. We only have 1 quota. Just every single thing under the sun would happen. And I'm just like, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to commission. And I had to sit with myself and say, Tashique, why are you doing it? Why do you want to commission? And I could not come up with the reason. But I knew why I wanted to go into public health and healthcare and be an advocate in that field. I knew why I wanted to do that. So I said, you know what? Let me stop, take a minute, and revise this 5-year plan because I was doing it for the wrong reasons. Because I couldn't find the passion or the dream. I couldn't find that thing that I wanted to commission, but I found the thing why I wanted to be in public health and influencing health behavior and policies when it comes to marginalized low-income individuals. I knew what I wanted to do there and how I wanted to influence health and healthcare and those policies. So I pivoted again and I went to TGPS, the transition class, actually about 9 months before. It was actually the last in-person class before COVID hit. And they talked about the skill bridge and they gave the information and I was like, all right, guess I'm going to try this. And about 2 months later, after, I got put in a map package. We're gonna map you. We're gonna put in a package for you. I put the package together, and sure enough, it didn't go anywhere. When I found out, I was livid. I'm like, why do you all keep telling me to do
Yeah.
these things and nothing comes of it?
Mhm.
Okay, maybe I need to sit with myself and realize this is not the the road I'm supposed to be on anymore. You know, maybe there is something that I need to do, and I had to sit with it and sit with God and pray about it and be like, all right, what's next? And I was cleaning out my bookshelf and I came across the TGPS stuff again, and I found that flyer for the SkillBridge program, and I wrote up a short email to the organization. I'm like, hey, I'm interested in doing this. I'm not doing any patient care, but I want to go in policy or something there. And about 2 days later, I get a call. Hey, so they want to interview you for a business analyst position. I don't even know what this is, but this was still not what I wanted to do. And I had to be firm there as well with the next thing, because I would not waste the time and energy and efforts I put into getting these degrees. I didn't want to waste it by not pursuing that goal and that vision and that passion. So I turned that down, not knowing what's going to be next. And about 6 months before I was supposed to get out of the Navy, I had to have shoulder surgery. I'm like, all right, here we go again. Another challenge. So I'm still enrolled, still trying to pursue the SkillBridge, but now I can't do it until I come off of convalescent leave. And this is only going to leave me 6 weeks to be in this program, even though it's a 6-month program that you can be in. And I'm like, might as well take this 6 weeks. And that's what I did. I got my paperwork together. I aligned my last 6 months. I had surgery. The day after my surgery, when my convalescence started, I had the 30 days. The day after that 30 days ended, I started my SkillBridge. After the SkillBridge ended on December 14th, I started terminal leave. And that is how I planned the last 6 months. And you have to be just as confident in what you do now as your goals and your vision. So I was sure when I was closing this chapter that I was finished with it, because I had invested the last 3 years of aligning myself with networking, with getting my LinkedIn page up to date, with the research that I did with this job. I revised my resume about 17 times. I sent it to people to look at it. I got a mentor in the field. I've never met this woman a day in my life, but she has invested in me so much. She reviews my resume. She did mock interviews. There's a lot of programs and a lot of things out there that we're just not making use of. So I enrolled in everything. Every single thing that was there, I enrolled in it. And while I was on the Navy journey, I still did the US map and got the certificates, even though I was pursuing a master's degree, because life happens.
Yeah.
So I did all of that to transition. And my mentor, this is someone outside of the military. I was downplaying my goals and vision and my potential. I still thought that I could just get a job where I'm an assistant to somebody, or whatever it is. I just need to get something to make at least 70,000. That's what I'm telling myself here. And about 2 months before my surgery, or a month before my surgery, I get another interview with another group at United Healthcare, and we had an hour-long talk, because it wasn't an interview. We just hit it off, and they're like, we want her.
Come on, Glory. Yeah.
So even though I didn't know what this was, I turned down the first offer because it wasn't aligning with what I wanted to do. And I waited. And then it just came into fruition that another opportunity opened up, and they're like, we have the right person, because she outlined, and she was firm and set her standard that I have this and I want to do this. And that was it. I wasn't going to budge at this point, because I knew that I had invested in everything to meet the standard and to go out there and be comfortable and confident that I can move on to the next chapter. So you have to plan for this. You have to make the contacts, network, start working on it months out or even a year or two out, you know, because life is happening. See, COVID just hit in the middle of what I was doing. And I'm like, everybody was, well, you sure you want to get out? There's a pandemic. You sure you? I'm like, yes.
Then I think it's smart, and for those that's listening, one, everything that you said on this interview is everything that you put down. You said, I put it down, so I'm gonna go do it. Everything you said that you wanted to do, you said, I put it down, so I'm gonna go do it. Every roadblock, you said, no, because I put this down, so I'm gonna go do it. A lot of annotating, a lot of visioning, a lot of even that part where you mentioned about having a revamp because you realized like what I was doing was not really what I wanted to do, and I'm not doing it for the right reason. So let me go revamp it. Some people stay so tied to their initial vision that they do not believe that they can go revamp it. It's your vision. Go change it. Go shift it. Go do what you got to do.
Yeah. I wasn't doing it for anybody else but me at this point. So that is why I think I was successful at this point, because I wasn't doing it for the wrong reasons anymore, and I wasn't doing it for anybody else. Not my mom, not my spouse, I wasn't doing it for anybody else but me. No.
And I think it's good as you the entire time, all we see you doing is going uphill. And I know you're going to talk about how you got into the seat that you're in now. You went through all this uphill, just to be seated in the place that you are now. But you've been going uphill this entire time.
Yes. And it's been hard. It wasn't easy. Yeah. And then people see this part of it. They see this version.
The glory.
Well, I want. But you didn't understand that I had to invest in me. I had to pay for some of this. Yeah. I had to stay up late. I had to do a lot of work when I didn't want to, because I knew that there was something more. There's always something more, right? And when I realized my vision and my potential, I have to go for it. So you have to ignite that fire in you when others don't. You have to do it. Yeah. When your family don't, when your friends don't watch your stuff, but you have to ignite that thing in you to get to your goal and your potential, right? And align yourself with the best people. Sometimes you don't understand. I didn't understand that, you know what? I don't have to bring this into the next chapter, you know? And when I started shaking off some of that dead weight and the things that I thought defined me, it started getting easier, you know? So I only had 6 weeks in this SkillBridge internship program, and I didn't know what was going to be next. You know, I started applying for other jobs. I even applied for a job at Starbucks. I'm like, I can be a barista. I can, you know, so I didn't let my ego get in the way of what was next. I was very realistic about the potential of, since, you know, things are happening and it might not work out how I planned. So I had planned A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm like, I can teach, got a whole master's degree, 2 of them. I can do something else with it. So sometimes when you have these tools, resources, and talents, you have to figure out, how can I use what I've invested in myself to get to where I need to, you know? So that's what I did. I had in the back of my mind, I knew I had to be flexible, but I'm going to give 100% to this goal that I have and that I'm putting in the effort and energy to realize. So got this SkillBridge internship. I got computer, internet, all that in my house, got it set up. And, you know, we're used to the military lifestyle where they're like, quarters is at this time, be there 15 minutes before, you know. I got this and nobody told me what to do, when to show up.
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm like, all right, Tashique, now what? So in true Tashique fashion, I got dressed. I put the whole thing on and I logged in at 8 o'clock and I wrote up a message and I said good morning to everybody that was online, people that I didn't even know. The first day walking in the door, I had to make that impression that I was representing veterans at that point, because it was a military internship program. So I had to represent the best of us, you know. I had to represent that you don't have to be prescriptive on what I'm going to do here. I'm going to use this opportunity that I get to my to the best of my ability. And I showed up the first day, and the VP for my department, he didn't give me a task, but I said, you know what, Kevin, what are you doing today? I'm at home. I could have sat around, just did nothing because nobody told me what to do. I could have just sat at home. I'm on the skill bridge, I'm on the internship, and did nothing with that. But the first day I went in there, I said, what are you doing today? And he shared his calendar with me, and I went to every meeting that he went to. And every opportunity that I got to introduce myself and tell people who I am, I did that. You know? And just mirroring his schedule for the day, I started getting the tasks. Hey, take a look into this. Take a look into that. And sure enough, 2 weeks into my internship, I get COVID. I'm like, dang, man, here we go, another challenge. Yeah. Now I can't fulfill the 6 weeks by really, showing what I can do. And that did not stop anything, because that Friday, I had a conversation with the same VP, and he said, I know you have been given things to do, but you show up, Tashique. You jump in the deep end of the pool and you get right in there. You don't wait for someone to influence your chapter and what's next for you and what you're doing for that day. You show up and you bring your input, and it's take it or leave it. And we want that. So what do you plan on doing after this 3 weeks is done? I said, work for you. He said, good answer. And 3 weeks into that internship, I was offered a full-time position at United Healthcare as a strategic solutions director. Walking in that door with those 2 master's degrees that I invested, I didn't know what I was going to do with them. Nobody had a question on if I was competent to do this job. So walking out of the Navy, November as an HM3 into United Healthcare as a executive, that is my journey. That's what happened there.
Yeah. And I think people don't understand that, for those non-military, HM3 being an E4, like you're closer to the beginning than you are to the end. You're closer to the beginning of the total. E1, E2, E3, there's like a 2 to 3 year gap there. You're closer to the beginning than the end. Then to come out and go right into an exec position, like because you believed in yourself, because you stuck to your vision, because you said, every challenge that come my way, I have somewhere to be. And everybody don't have that grit. Everybody in the Caribbean, like that hustle mentality of no matter what, I'm going to make a way. I'm going to figure it out.
I want to reform or refine that, what we call the hustle. Let's change that narrative, and let's call it strategic alignment. We're not hustling. We're strategically placing ourselves in places and positions that we can build a legacy for ourselves or families and the next Black girl that doesn't know her potential and what she can do next. So walking out of the Navy making maybe, according to the LES, maybe 45, 50,000 into a position where there's some zeros behind that.
Yeah. It
is very possible, but you have to do the work while you're in this position that you're in. You have to do the work while you maintain that that job. I was still junior sailor of the quarter, even though I was transitioning. Still getting, tagged to put in map packages. Still performing in that job, even though I knew. So don't burn those bridges, because you don't know if you're going to need those references. I was lucky enough to not need that, but I would implore and encourage you, don't burn those bridges. Be prepared, be firm in your plan, be firm in how you're going to invest in yourself. And when I walked into my CDB, my career development board, to transition out of the Navy, my senior chief said, Tashique, HM3, we are not going to hold you back. We know what you're going to do next. So we don't even have to have this conversation. We know you're prepared. When you come to us, you don't come to us for guidance. You come to us with, this is what I'm doing. Here's all the documentation highlighted. Sign here. on to the next. Because nobody's going to invest that time into getting you the medical paperwork and getting you the. Nobody's going to do that. You have to come 80% ready for your goal and your vision. So that's what I did to have this kind of smooth transition. I laid it all out. I said, this is what I'm going to do on this day. This is how it's going to go. I'm going to end my service on this day. I gave myself 40 days of overlap to make sure that this paycheck is coming in and this one.
Yeah.
And so that I would not have that worry in the middle of a pandemic. And sure enough, that is how my transition went. Smooth as butter. Like I couldn't ask for anything else because I prepared. I prayed about it and I executed.
Plan, prayer, and execution. PPE, baby. PPE. I love it. I love it. And before we wrap up here, I want to give you this question because I always do to all my guests. One, your story is super dope, and the uphill battle, you were it with glory, you were it with humility, you were very humble. If you had a 12-year-old, 15-year-old young lady that came up to you that is in a abusive marriage, that doesn't know her purpose, that doesn't know what's next for her, what are 3 tips? Like, what would you tell her today? Like, from what you've gone through, what would you tell her today?
I would tell her that it's okay to realign, refine, reform, because you're not defined by what happens to you. You can't rewrite the future, but you can write the future. You can't rewrite your past, but you can write the future. So take this pen up and put it down on how you're going to move into your purpose and not let what happens to you define you. That's 1. 2, do your research. Write that email. Send that email to the person who you don't know. Don't be afraid. People are out there ready to invest in you more than you even know, but you won't know that until you take the first step. So you have to know and be confident. And you know what? I want to be an entrepreneur. So I'm going to align myself with the people who are, and I'm going to ask about it. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do my research, and I'm going to align with those people. And the third thing I would say is keep it at the front of your mind, not the back. This is what I'm doing, and keep that vision front of your mind so that you don't get lost in and get comfortable in what you're doing. You know, because sometimes I see that happen. We get comfortable because we get the paycheck and forget about our passion and our purpose. So keep your passion and your purpose and your vision front of mind so that you can execute it.
Yes. Come on, 3 tips. Come on, somebody. Y'all, I hope you got some gems. I know I got some, and it's so inspirational, it's educational, and it's understanding that even though you may be going in an uphill battle now, don't quit, don't stop, because your glory is sitting waiting on you on the other side of pain, on the other side of a challenge, on the other side of no. When you listen to the story, she didn't sit at the table. She created some of the tables, put the chairs there, and told people to come sit at them with her. You know what I'm saying? And that's the dope part that we have in our life. Take that power back. Take your power back. Don't let anybody have power over you. Don't let nobody have say-so over you. Don't let nobody stop you. We all have purpose. We all have we healthy boundaries. That's so important. Set the boundaries for people in your life. You do not have to allow it. And I was talking to somebody this morning. I said, how much are you doing for other people that you don't even do for yourself? How much are you giving to other people that you don't even give to yourself? And I had to work through that. I was that person that just wanted everybody to be happy, everybody to be comfortable because of my pain. I didn't want nobody to feel what I was feeling. So thank you so much for spending time on the podcast today. Your story is dominating. Like, I know we went over some of our time, but yeah, I wanted y'all y'all to hear this one because I've watched her run uphill. Not just, people go uphill and it's like they sweat and they tired. You've ran uphill and you didn't let the slope stop you. You didn't let the slope slide you back, even when you fell a couple of times or feel like you fell or feel like somebody was trying to stop you. You was like, I'm going up.
There's more. So when y'all see me running for president or something, just know that y'all got the first.
we got the first. No, listen, I'm just trying to be up in there at the table with you talking about, baby, it's for us. Where's my room in the White House?
Let's do it. Let's do
it because it's possible. And if anybody out there needs some encouragement, replay this episode over and over again and look at the power and the pain. You got two women that's been through a lot. But that a lot made us who we are. And it showed us that we can bust down any door, any challenge, and take any opportunity because we were qualified before we even got the credentials, before we got the paperwork, before we finished the schools. Like it doesn't, you're already qualified. When you're an overcomer, you continue to overcome. You continue to conquer. You continue to do. You continue to elevate. You continue to expand. And that's what the Beyond the Vision podcast is about, is seeing what you see right now, but knowing that there's something beyond that. So thank you, sis, for showing up and blessing the audience. We're going to see you when you're running for president in a few years, girl.
Get it. Let's eat.
Let's get it. All right, y'all. Until the next episode, keep going beyond your vision. And like Tashique said, keep your vision at the front of your mind, because it needs to be your priority and you need to be your priority. I'll holler at y'all later.